Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After a monumental title versus title match to close WWE NXT Roadblock, Stephanie Vacher is now the first women's double champion in the developmental brand's history. La Primera defeated Giulia to become both the NXT Women's and Women's North American champion. The quick title swap was a bit strange due to the Beautiful Madness only winning the title from Roxanne Perez in January. After the massive move, Vacher is now the unquestioned top dog in NXT. However, it still begs the question as to why Giulia lost the title so soon after a lot of fanfare last year. It could be for any of the next four reasons. As mentioned during commentary before the main event, Stephanie Vacher and Giulia have fought each other one-on-one once before. Vacher defeated the Beautiful Madness for the New Japan Strong Women's title in their only previous singles showdown in March 2024. Giulia then joined WWE shortly thereafter. Since Vacher is now 2-0 against her friend, losing the title can set up a rematch with higher stakes. Giulia could finally get a win over her friend and potentially regain her title. It could be over the summer or inside a steel cage or even a 2 out of 3 falls match. When bigger free agents join NXT, they may not spend a lot of time in the WWE's developmental brand. Most stars spend 2 to 3 years in NXT, with some opting to spend more time instead of moving to Raw or SmackDown. Giulia already competed in the Royal Rumble, so casual WWE fans should at least know who she is. Both rosters were hit hard by injuries over the last 2 years, causing WWE to book the same 6 women nearly every week on both Raw and SmackDown. A week rarely went by without stars such as Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Bayley, Bianca Belair, and Naomi appearing on both shows. When the Beautiful Madness is medically cleared, she can bolster the flailing women's division that has relied on the same names week after week. Her title run wasn't as bad as Indy Hartwell's. The biggest question coming out of the main event of NXT Roadblock is, will Vacher be defending both titles? Will she relinquish the North American Championship now that she holds the brand's top prize for women? The decision to book a champ versus champ match seems to have been a last-minute decision instead of a long-term plan. If it wasn't, why would Giulia be given such fanfare only to have a title run of about 2 months? NXT now looks towards stand and deliver during WrestleMania weekend, raising questions and intrigue heading into the biggest weekend of the year. Putting the secondary title on the line in a ladder match seems like a strong possibility. Another out-of-the-box possibility could be Ava turning heel to align with her father. She could award herself the title and walk around like she earned it. Whatever happens, Giulia losing the NXT Women's Championship creates several avenues at the biggest time of the year for WWE. One big reason why Giulia lost the NXT Women's title is because she's reportedly injured. Her initial NXT tenure didn't start as planned due to an unfortunate injury she suffered even before joining WWE. Shawn Michaels was been in a weird spot with the women's roster. It had too many untested performers with limited experience and a few industry veterans. None were credible threats to dethrone Roxanne Perez. Once Vacher and the Beautiful Madness were signed, it meant the prodigy's time atop NXT was running out. The title swap from Perez was seemingly the original plan, but another unfortunate injury could have facilitated a massive title swap at Roadblock tonight. Introduction. WWE's NXT brand has long been a fertile ground for showcasing talent and creating unforgettable moments. One of the more compelling stories in the NXT Women's Championship division was the reign of Giulia, a rising star who had captured the title through hard work, grit, and undeniable charisma. However, at Roadblock, a pay-per-view event that consistently provides high-stakes matches and intense rivalry, Giulia lost her coveted title. This defeat was a moment that took fans by surprise, especially considering her meteoric rise in the women's division. In this article, we will explore 4 potential reasons why Giulia lost the NXT Women's Championship at Roadblock, considering both in-story narrative factors and real-world elements that could have influenced this outcome. 1. The storyline direction. A new champion for fresh narrative. One of the primary reasons Giulia lost the NXT Women's Championship at Roadblock lies in the larger storyline direction of the division. WWE is a company that thrives on creating engaging storylines that captivate its audience, and a major aspect of that is keeping the championship scene fresh and exciting. Giulia's reign as champion had been impactful, but there were several indications that it was time for a change. A need for a new challenging face. Giulia had been a dominant champion for a significant period, but every champion eventually faces the reality that their reign can only last so long before the story becomes stagnant. If WWE had not booked a loss for Giulia, the creative team would risk repeating the same narrative tropes, leading to a potential loss of interest in her title reign. By booking a new champion, WWE injected fresh energy into the women's division and opened the door for new feuds and rivalries. WWE has always been about the elevation of talent, and this move was likely a deliberate one to shift the spotlight to another wrestler who could carry the brand forward. Perhaps someone who was on the verge of stardom or needed a significant victory to establish themselves as a top contender. The decision to crown a new champion wasn't about diminishing Giulia's abilities, but rather about propelling the division in a new direction with fresh matchups and stories. Long-term storytelling. Additionally, long-term storytelling often requires champions to lose their titles at specific junctures to set up larger, more engaging rivalries. Giulia losing the title could have been planned months in advance, with the creative team using this outcome to set the stage for future encounters or a redemption arc for Giulia. Losing the title at Roadblock may not have been the end of her journey, but a crucial chapter in a broader story that could unfold in the coming months. Evolution of rivalries. In the ever-evolving world of wrestling, a fresh champion brings new dynamics to the women's division. Giulia's loss likely paved the way for an evolving rivalry between her and the new champion, offering fans the chance to see how she would adapt to a different role. It would provide an opportunity for her to grow as a character, potentially fueling her into an underdog role, which could lead to one of the most exciting redemption arcs in recent memory. 2. The influence of external factors, contractual issues, or real-life circumstances. Behind the scenes, there are often real-world factors that influence creative decisions within WWE. Wrestlers are not just characters in a script. They are also real individuals with personal lives, injuries, and contracts that play a part in their career trajectories. While WWE typically works around such circumstances, it is possible that Giulia's loss at Roadblock was tied to external issues that impacted her storyline. Injury concerns. Wrestling, particularly in a high-impact company like WWE, often comes with the risk of injury. It is not uncommon for performers to suffer minor injuries that may not immediately affect their performances, but could signal the need for a break. Giulia, despite her tough persona and in-ring ability, might have been dealing with an injury or physical strain that could have required her to step away from the championship picture for a period of time. If this were the case, WWE might have made the decision to book her loss at Roadblock to provide her with time off, allowing her to heal without being tied to the physical demands of being the champion. This would not only help preserve her long-term health, but also set up her eventual return as a stronger competitor. An injured champion cannot give the audience the best version of themselves, and WWE often finds ways to work around this while maintaining the integrity of their storylines. Contractual or personal matters. Another factor could be personal or contractual issues that affected Giulia's future with WWE. While this is speculative, it is not uncommon for wrestlers to negotiate new contracts, take time off for personal reasons, or explore opportunities elsewhere. If there was any ambiguity about her future with the company, WWE might have made the decision to have her lose the championship, thus allowing a different wrestler to take center stage. For example, if there were any internal discussions about Giulia potentially moving to the main roster or taking on other roles outside of the NXT division, her losing the title at Roadblock could have been a way to signal the end of her NXT journey. Losing the title in a high-stakes match like Roadblock would allow WWE to write her off as a top contender and leave the door open for her to come back stronger or transition to a new phase in her career. Real-life challenges. There are also instances when personal life challenges or unforeseen circumstances impact a wrestler's ability to perform. It could be that Giulia faced external pressures that prevented her from continuing her title reign. Regardless of whether this involved her health, personal relationships, or external business opportunities, WWE's ability to adapt to real-world situations is a crucial factor in maintaining the flow of its programming. 3. The strength of the challenger. The new contender's storyline momentum. While Giulia's loss could have been due to her own circumstances, it is also important to acknowledge the significance of the challenger in this scenario. NXT's success is largely dependent on the development of its talent, and a major reason why Giulia lost her title could have been the overwhelming momentum of the challenger, who eventually captured the NXT Women's Championship. Building new stars. Giulia's title reign was undoubtedly impressive, but sometimes a wrestler's loss can be used to elevate a rising star who has the potential to carry the division. In the world of professional wrestling, winning a championship is often about timing, and a loss doesn't necessarily signify failure. It can be a calculated decision to put the spotlight on someone else. At Roadblock, the challenger who defeated Giulia could have been someone who had been on an upward trajectory for quite some time. And WWE's creative team may have wanted to seize the moment to establish them as the new face of the NXT Women's division. If the challenger was an underdog or someone who had faced significant adversity, the victory over Giulia would serve to make their triumph even more meaningful and rewarding for the audience. The right moment for change. Every wrestling fan understands the importance of a champion losing at the right moment. A defeat that feels earned and impactful often resonates better with the audience. WWE may have recognized that Roadblock was the perfect event to have Giulia lose the title, because it would have given the new champion the necessary momentum heading into future storylines. A challenger who has been built up effectively, perhaps through a series of compelling victories or by overcoming personal challenges, might have been seen as the right choice to dethrone Giulia. Such a loss would benefit the division by giving the challenger a strong starting point to begin their own reign and create a fresh and exciting dynamic for the fans. Champions' vulnerabilities expose. Sometimes a loss is booked because the champion's weaknesses were gradually exposed leading up to the match. This might include signs of overconfidence, underestimating the challenger, or simply not having an answer for the unique fighting style of the challenger. The loss to a more prepared or determined challenger can then become a defining moment in both the champion's and the challenger's storyline. In Giulia's case, she might have been portrayed as someone who, despite being dominant, was ultimately outsmarted or overwhelmed by the new champion's ingenuity. 4. WWE's long-term vision for the NXT Women's division. Finally, Giulia's loss at Roadblock could have been part of WWE's broader vision for the NXT Women's division. Every storyline and title reign within NXT is a stepping stone to something greater. Giulia's loss could have been part of a long-term plan to elevate multiple women on the roster, potentially setting the stage for a greater collective push within the division. Elevating the entire division. At the heart of every major wrestling promotion is the desire to elevate talent, and Giulia's loss could have been part of a strategy to give other women the chance to shine. By having Giulia drop the title, WWE created a dynamic that allowed for other wrestlers to step up and vie for the championship, which, in turn, keeps the division feeling alive and competitive. The loss also set the stage for future feuds that could involve multiple women, creating opportunities for new tag team partnerships, rivalries, and multi-woman matches that would be sure to excite the fanbase. This type of long-term planning ensures that the NXT Women's Championship scene remains relevant and filled with exciting potential matchups for years to come. Preparing for the main roster. Lastly, Giulia's loss at Roadblock could have been part of WWE's plan to eventually move her to the main roster. In many cases, a wrestler who loses their title may be prepared for a call-up to a bigger stage, such as WWE's Raw or SmackDown shows. Giulia's loss at a major event could be the final chapter of her NXT journey, before she transitions to the main roster, where she could begin competing with the best that WWE has to offer. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.